Om. 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 पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवतां नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनी अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवत् गीते भयद्वेषिणी प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवैत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। हरि ओम तत्सत्। हरि ओम तत्सत्। हरि ओम तत्सत्। So very welcome to this class on Bhagavad Gita. And before this, many of you must have listened to Patanjali Yoga Sutras about, I don't know, 3 4 months. The class was going on. We covered the entire Patanjali Yoga Sutras, all the sutras, which was based on Sankhya Yoga. Okay. And now we are going to see yoga in Bhagavad Gita. You know, so we shall see the difference also between Patanjali Yoga and the yoga in Bhagavad Gita, and even difference in the Sankhya in Patanjali Yoga Sutra as well as Sankhya in Bhagavad Gita. We shall see that in the due course. Okay. And the main difference, of course, is we all know as the students of yoga that Sankhya and Yoga, they are dualistic system of philosophy. द्वैतवादी है सांख्य दर्शन और योग दर्शन, ये द्वैतवादी दर्शन है. While we are going to learn Advaita in Bhagavad Gita, non-dual non-dual system we are going to learn in Bhagavad Gita, and therefore how yoga can be practiced according to Advaita Siddhanta. That is what we are going to see now. And as I chanted the prayer, in the prayer itself, Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavatam Narayanena Swayam. So, Bhagavad Gita is a song celestial. Bhagavat Gita. Gita means the song. So, it is a divine song. These words have come right from the mouth of Krishna himself. So how powerful they will be, and how wonderful those dialogues are that we shall go into. See, so Parthaya Pratimurtam भगवताम नारायणेन स्वयं, स्वयं नारायण ने, कृष्ण ने ही पार्थ को ये भगवत गीता बताई है। तो भगवान के मुंह से जो शब्द उत्पन्न हुए हैं वो तो बहुत ही, यू कैन से, हाईली फिलोसॉफिकल, हाईली स्टिम्युलेटिंग टाइप ऑफ वर्ड्स। व्यासेन ग्रथिता, बट इसका जो संकलन किया हुआ है वो व्यास मुनि ने किया हुआ है। पुराण मुनि नाम, वन ऑफ द ग्रेटेस्ट among the sages is Vyasa Muni, about which of course he is called Veda Vyasa because he is the person who has really uh, segregated the Vedas, analyzed the Vedas. Even before Vyasa also Vedic mantras were there, लेकिन बिखरे हुए से थे, उसको संग्रहित करके 4 वेदों में उनका वर्गीकरण करने का काम व्यास मुनि ने किया, इसलिए उनको वेद व्यास बताया जाता है। सो व्यासा डिवाइडेड वेदास इनटू ऋग्वेद, यजुर्वेद, सामवेद, अथर्ववेद। सो दीज 4 वेदास they are given by Vyasa himself, and not only that, he formed at that time, in the ancient time, 4 universities of Vedas. वेद के 4 विश्वविद्यालय उन्होंने बताए थे। और हर एक विश्वविद्यालय का एक कुलपति था। देयर वाज अ वाइस चांसलर इवन फॉर दोज वैदिक यूनिवर्सिटीज। ऋग्वेद, ये जो उन्होंने यूनिवर्सिटी बनाई थी, उसका पहला ऋषि वाज द वाइस चांसलर, कुलपति ऑफ ऋग्वेद यूनिवर्सिटी। वैशंपायन ऋषि was the vice chancellor of Yajurveda University. Jaimini was for Samaveda University, and Sumantu, he was for Atharva Veda University. So 4 Vedic universities, and it is because of that only that Vedas remain alive even now. वहाँ जो विद्यार्थी जाते थे पूरा पठन करते थे, वेद पठन, from mouth to mouth. It has, the Veda Vidya has reached up to here thanks to Veda Vyasa. Okay, so that was the great work which he has done. And then after that, Veda Vyasa, he gave the knowledge of Vedas in sutra forms, just as Patanjali, we have seen, has given Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Veda Vyasa gave Brahma Sutras. And in one of our classes in Thana, every Friday, that is tomorrow morning again, I am going to talk about Brahma Sutras. So they are in the sutra forms. That was contribution of Veda Vyasa. Veda Vyasa wrote Brahma Sutras. And then actually when he did such a wonderful work, once Narada Muni met Veda Vyasa, and he says that all this great knowledge which you have given, the knowledge of the Vedas, the knowledge of the Brahma Sutras, it is for highly intellectual people. What about the most common people, common of all people, who are not learned, who do not know many, many things, even Sanskrit and other things? What have you done for them? Do you mean to say that spirituality is only for highly intellectual people, highly learned people, not for ordinary people? You should do something about them. And therefore, he wrote Puranas, 18 Puranas. That was Puranas. They are the beautiful stories through which the same Vedanta Vidya is given in the form of stories. And the Bhagwat Purana is one of the greatest Puranas which he has given. So in the form of, for most common people. That is why today even if you go to very remote places in India, anywhere, you will find the Puranic stories. And in the Puranic stories, though it is enveloped in the story form, the essence of Vedanta is given through the stories. Vedanta का जो ज्ञान था वो कथाओं के रूप में, पौराणिक कथाओं के रूप में प्रस्तुत किया वेद व्यास ने, फॉर द मोस्ट कॉमन पीपल. And of course, he wrote the Itihas. Hmm. Itihasas are very, very important, you know. So, something which actually happened and something which gives the lessons of life is known as Itihas. So, Mahabharata is the great Itihasa which is written by Vedavyasa. And Vedavyasa actually was there in the Mahabharata time. Actually, Mahabharata, you can say in a way, it started with Vedavyasa. क्योंकि वेदव्यास तो पराशर ऋषि के पुत्र थे और सत्यवती और पराशर के वो पुत्र थे। और आप सबको मालूम है कि जब कौरव वंश ऑलमोस्ट खत्म हो रहा था, अंबिका और अंबालिका जब आई हुई थी, and then the Pandu and the other fellow, they did not have the sons. So Satyavati actually called Vedavyasa, and that is how Kaurava Vansha was sustained by Vedavyasa. Kauravas and Pandavas, actually they have originated from Vedavyasa himself. And then he wrote the great Mahabharata. And in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata, this entire Bhagavad Gita has been told. So Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata and part of Bhishma Parva in Mahabharata. That is what we have to remember. So that is why, as far as Vyasa is concerned, it is always said about Vyasa that Vyasochistam Jagat Sarvam. Vyasochistam Jagat Sarvam. ये सारा जगत उच्छिष्ट है व्यास का. He has touched each and everything. You dive into the any field of experience which a human being can have, and you find in that experience is already told by Vyasa in one way or the other. Vyasa has touched everything in the world. Vyasochistam Jagat Sarvam. That is why I told you all this, because Bhagavad Gita is rich in the practical knowledge, in the theoretical knowledge, in the spiritual knowledge, because it is written by Vyasa. Why? Because he is talking about Jivan Vidya. You know, Vyasa actually is concerned about human life itself. And human life gives you the lessons. You know, our own life, that's what Vyasa told straight away, that your life itself is your book. आप अपने जीवन से ही ज्ञान प्राप्त कर सकते हैं. जीवन को अगर आप देखने सीखे, अच्छी तरह से देखने सीखे, अपने आप आपको ज्ञान प्राप्त हो जाएगा. सो भगवद गीता इज एक्चुअली टॉकिंग अबाउट जीवन विद्या. दैट इज व्हाई वेद व्यास वाज गुरुज ऑफ ऑल द बुक्स. दैट इज व्हाई व्यास पूर्णिमा is actually celebrated as Guru Purnima. व्यास पूर्णिमा को इसीलिए गुरु पूर्णिमा नाम से बताया जाता है. So now in Bhagavad Gita, what Vyasa is telling is how the truths which are there in the Vedas, in the Upanishad, in the Indian system of philosophy, which is known as Darshanas. This is also one of the most wonderful words in Indian philosophy. Indian philosophy is called a darshana. Darshan means something which makes you see, which makes you experience. So Indian philosophies are not only intellectual jargon. बौद्धिक स्तर पर बहुत गहरा विचार करना, चिंतन करना, यही केवल भारतीय दर्शनों का सार नहीं है. भारतीय दर्शन ये कहते हैं कि जो कुछ कहा गया है वो आप जीवन में अनुभव कर सकते हैं. यू कैन रियली एक्सपीरियंस इट इन योर लाइफ इन विच एवर फील्ड यू आर. इट डजंट मैटर व्हाट यू आर, यू नो, which way you are working, in which field you are working, where you are working in the world, doesn't matter at all. If you are living in this world, in that very life, from that very life, you can learn everything. You can learn each and everything. You know, so how to do that? is something which we can learn from Bhagavad Gita itself. If you want to learn Bhagavad Gita, by the way, I request you all to have at least one copy of Bhagavad Gita with you, because when we shall be referring to different stanzas from different chapters, it is better if you have Bhagavad Gita. I will tell you which stanza we are really discussing, and that will be very helpful. तो आप अपने पास एक भगवत गीता, कौन से भी भगवत गीता की कॉपी आप रख सकते हैं. दिस इज द भगवत गीता फ्रॉम गीता प्रेस गोरखपुर, one of the most wonderful institutes which has produced a lot of things. So this is Gita Press Gorakhpur Bhagavad Gita. इसमें the stanzas are given and very simple, straightforward meaning is also given in this. So you can see this, and you know that if you can look at this particular picture which is there in Bhagavad Gita, this is at the gate of गीता प्रेस गोरखपुर. गीता प्रेस गोरखपुर अगर जाएंगे आप, तो ये जो प्रतीक है वो आपको वहां दिखाई देगा, रथ का प्रतीक. एंड एक्चुअली this itself gives the entire message of Bhagavad Gita. In this picture itself, you find the entire message of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna, the charioteer, the chariot itself, and the horses which are there, the rain which is there, everything is so significant. And that significance has been beautifully told in Kathopanishad. Many of the stanzas which are there in Bhagavad Gita, they have been taken straight from Kathopanishad. उपनिषद का विचार ही भगवत गीता में है, और इसलिए भगवत गीता का जो अभी हमने जो प्रार्थना की है, उसमें एक प्रार्थना में ऐसा कहा था, सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दुग्धा गोपाल नंदन पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर भोक्ता दुग्धम गीतामृतम महत्. सर्वोपनिषदो गावो. So if you compare all the Upanishads as cow, सारे उपनिषदों को एक गाय माना गया, तो वो गाय का दूध निकालने वाला दुग्धा गोपाल नंदना. सो गोपाल नंदन, उसका दूध निकालने वाला ग्वाला है. और दूध तो बछड़े के लिए होता है, गाय का दूध गाय के बछड़े के लिए आता है. Who is this bachada? Is Arjuna, Partho Vatsaha. And along with the calf, the milk is also available to all others. We also enjoy the milk. Who are those who enjoy the milk? Sudhihi. Sudhihi Bhokta. Sudhihi means those who have got discriminative intellect. Dhihi means intellect. Sudhihi, those who have discriminative intellect, जिनकी विवेक बुद्धि जागृत हुई है. Those who are thinking very seriously about life. They are not just living life without any direction, just as the life comes and goes. They are living because they don't die. No, not like that. They are very serious. They are seriously thinking about what is this life, why I am here, where I am going. There should be some direction for my life. They discriminate. Such people, they are known as Sudhihi. Sudhihi Bhokta. So, that milk which has been extracted from all the Upanishads which are in the form of cow, Dugdham Gitamrutam. So, this the nectar of Bhagavad Gita is for all those people who are serious about their own life. That is what it said. And then, as I was telling you, this particular picture, it has been in Kathopanishad, you find this very beautiful simile which has been given, the simile of chariot for the man. Atmanam rathinam viddhi, shariram rathamevatu, buddhim tu sarathim viddhi, मन प्रग्रहमेव च इंद्रियाणि हयान आहु विषयान तैचु गोचरा. What a beautiful saying. The same thing, you know. Atmanam Ratinam Vidhi. Our Atman, our the essential soul which is there within us, the pure consciousness that is there within us. He is the essence of all of us. Rathinam Vidhi. Shariram Ratham Evatu. This body which is there with us is the chariot. You know, chariot is used for the going from one place to another place, for traveling. ये जो यात्रा कर रहे हैं हम, जीवन नाम की यात्रा जो कर रहे हैं, वो यात्रा करने के लिए जो हमको रथ प्राप्त हुआ है, वो रथ यानी ये शरीर. शरीर के माध्यम से हम ये यात्रा कर रहे हैं. शरीरम रथमेवतु बुद्धिम तो सारथिम विद्धि. रथ को तो घोड़े होते हैं, रथ को तो लगाम होता है, और सारथी बहुत जरूरी है. If you have to keep the chariot on the track, if you do not want that it should fall into the ditch, if you want to attain your goal in life, you need a Sarathi, the charioteer. Here the Krishna himself is the charioteer. You know, सारथी जो है, इसलिए उसको पार्थ सारथी कृष्ण ऐसा कहते हैं. ओके. बुद्धिम तो सारथी मन प्रग्रह में वच. द माइंड इज द रेन. मन का लगाम है. और घोड़े कौन से? इंद्रिय आणि हयान आहु. हमारी जो पंच इंद्रिय है, ज्ञानेन्द्रिय, ये घोड़े हैं. इंद्रियाणि हयान आहु विषयान तैचु गोचरान. ये घोड़े कौन से रास्ते पर दौड़ रहे? विषयों के रास्ते पर दौड़ने वाले ये घोड़े. This is what is happening in our life. How our life is directed? Life is directed by so many objects which we perceive through the senses. I see something, I want to have it, I want to possess it, I go there, I listen to something, and I act upon it. I taste something, I smell something, I touch something. So the senses, the sensations which we receive through the senses direct our life. लेकिन ये जो घोड़े हैं, उनको मन का लगाम है. मन प्रग्रह में वच. अब ये जो लगाम है, वो बुद्धि के हाथ में रहेगा, सारथी के हाथ में रहेगा, तो ये रथ बराबर रास्ते पर चलेगा. अदरवाइज इट विल गो वेवर. अगर लगाम ढीला पड़ गया, मन का लगाम अगर ढीला पड़ गया, तो घोड़े कहां भी चले जाएंगे. दिस इज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग टू मेनी ऑफ द पीपल. If we listen to the sense organs only and act according to the senses, this is what is happening to 95% of the people. That whatever senses say, we do. Senses what? That you put on the TV and listen to it, we put on the TV. Senses what? That you should eat something sweet, you go and eat something without thinking whether it is harmful or not harmful, how it's going to affect me. Okay. उनको अगर मन का लगाम रहेगा तो वो रास्ते पर रहेंगे. इंद्रियाणि हयान आहु मनः प्रग्रह में वच. So this is the one. This is the thing which is going to be taught to Arjuna by Krishna, Partha Sarthi Krishna. How you can keep your chariot on the right path and attain what you should really attain. Otherwise, the life will be really horrible life. You know, there are these three words which we should understand. Okay. बहुत सारे जो लोग होते हैं, जीवन में भटकते रहते हैं. दे आर वॉन्डरिंग, डायरेक्शनलेस नहीं. दे आर वॉन्डरर्स. दे आर वॉन्डरर्स. They do not know whether they are going where. As the situation like they act, react, and they don't know where they are going. Wandering type of people, wanderers. वह लगाम ही नहीं है, मन को लगाम ही नहीं है। जहां मन कहेगा, जो इच्छा होगी वो करते हैं जीवन में, वहीं चले जाते हैं। जहां जहां उनकी इंद्रियां ले जाते हैं वहां वो चले जाते हैं। चारवाका टाइप ऑफ पीपल, that today I felt like this, I did it, that's it. Whatever I feel, I do. I don't even think about it. Wanderers, directionless people. They don't know where they are going at all. Okay. दूसरे होते हैं, ये तो भटके लोग होते हैं, भटके विमुक्त जमान के, आज इधर है, कल उधर है, परसों उधर है, ऐसे ही पूरा जीवन चला जाता है, एक दिन मर जाते हैं विदाउट एनी गेन, नथिंग। दूसरे प्रवासी होते हैं, प्रवासी। They have a definite destination for their life. They know where they are going. They want to attain something in this particular world. They go by their intellect, okay? Attaining the world. लेकिन ऐसा जो प्रवासी होता है उसको they have worldly goals mainly, that I want to become great, I want to have great name and fame. They are much better than wanderers. But I want to achieve something in this life. I want to become very rich. I want to become a great businessman. I want to become great engineer, great doctor, and so on and so forth. Pravasi. Okay. The third type of people, they are the people who do yatra. They are on pilgrimage. They are pilgrims. They are not wanderers. They are not travelers. They are on pilgrimage. They want to meet the Lord. They want to meet the reality. और जो पिलग्रिम होता है ना, जो यात्रा में चलता है, उसके मन में भाव होता है एक प्रकार कि मुझे भगवान को मिलना है, भगवान को मिलने के लिए मैं चल पड़ा। तो उस समय उस यात्रा में कठिनाई भी आएगी, तो वो सोचेगा ये भगवान का प्रसाद ही है, भगवान मेरी परीक्षा ले रहा है। दिस इज द आइडिया in pilgrimages. If you have taken up any pilgrimage, in fact, if you go to Amarnath Yatra, if you go to any yatra, in fact, there may be difficulties, but those who are really having that devotion, they will say, अच्छा है, ठीक है, ये तो होता ही है। And you regard even others also who are walking on the path as your own people. In the traveling, you may fight with others, you may discuss, तो दूसरा आपके सीट पर आके जब बैठ गया तो आप you get angry and you really lot of tension, stresses are there in traveling. But in pilgrimage, everything that happens it is the Lord's way. ईश्वरी इच्छा के अनुसार सब हो रहा है. Bhagavad Gita is actually for pilgrims, not for wanderers, not for travelers, but for pilgrims. Because that is what they are telling, that you want to know what is life. जीवन क्या है, जीवन के बारे में आपको अगर जानना है तो आपको श्रद्धा होनी पड़ेगी, आपको यात्रा करनी। जीवन एक यात्रा है और ये यात्रा के लिए ही रथ दिया गया है। दैट इज द मेन थिंग व्हिच इज टेलिंग। नाउ what is the idea about this life in our scriptures? How life has been described in our scriptures. If you open Upanishads, the Rishis of the Upanishads, they are telling that life is full of bliss. Out of bliss only everything has come. पूरा आनंदमय है, आनंद के सिवा और कुछ भी नहीं, ऐसा ऋषि बताते हैं। So in Taittiriya Upanishad, you find that आनंदे ब्रह्मे दिव्य जानात आनंदाध्येव खलु इमानि भूतानि जायन्ते। आनंदे न जाता निजीवंती Anandam prayantyaभिसंविशन्ति. This is what the Guru was telling Varuni, that everything has come from bliss. Anande Brahm, Anandam Brahme दिव्य जानात. आनंद ही ब्रह्म है. सत्य तो केवल आनंद ही है. आनंद के सिवा कुछ है नहीं. आनंद्यादेव खलु इमानि भूतानि जायन्ते. ये सब क्रिएशन जो हुआ है उसका सोर्स तो आनंद ही है. It is out of bliss only. The whole everything in the world is out of bliss. Anandayana jatani jivanti. It is only because of bliss that people survive, people live. Anandam prayanti abhisamvishanti. They end up with bliss only. Everything is bliss. Everything is bliss. Is that our experience? Not at all. You know, what we find is life is full of tension, life is full of stresses. So this is actually the idea of life which rishis have seen, which sages have seen. If we walk on the spiritual path, if we realize ourselves, this is what precisely you will come across. Anand or Anand ke siwa aur kuch bhi nahi. Bhagavad Gita is inviting you towards this bliss. Bhagavad Gita is actually inviting you towards bliss. But as we are right now in the shoes of Arjuna, we are full of tensions, we are full of stresses, we are full of misery. And that is what Lord Buddha, who told about life. So about life, life is bliss. That is the declaration of the Upanishad. Life is full of misery. Exactly opposite declaration which is given by Lord Buddha. Nothing except misery. जीवन दुखमय है. दुख के सिवा और कुछ भी ये जीवन में नहीं है. जीवन में सुख मिल ही नहीं सकता है. And that is what our saints are also saying. Sukha pahata java pade, dukkha parvataye vade. If at all we get little bit of happiness in this life, it is like only a grain, you know. And the misery is like a mountain. Sukha pahata java pade, dukkha parvataye vade. Life is full of misery. You can't get happiness here. And Buddha beautifully used to say, worldly pleasure is a temporary relief between two miserable conditions. Very beautifully, very powerful, you know. We'll say that, oh, how do you say that? Entire life itself is full of misery. I am getting happiness here and there. If I go to party, there is some happiness. Even if I take a cup of coffee, there is happiness. If I meet my son, oh, I am so happy. He says these are the pleasures which are the non-miserable state you are identifying as happiness. That is what Buddha is telling. There is no happiness actually. You are traveling from misery to misery. In between, दो दुखों के बीच में एक अवकाश होता है. वो अवकाश ही सुख है ऐसा आपको लगता है. Actually, there is no happiness in life at all. So there is another extreme. The Upanishads are telling life is full of happiness. Buddha is telling life is full of misery. What Bhagavad Gita is telling about life? Bhagavad Gita has a totally different dimension to the life. He says life is full of war. You know, the essence of life is war. Bhagavad Gita says life is full of struggle. Nothing but struggle. Okay. So actually this was also told when we learned Western philosophy, as Rajesh was telling. The great Heraclitus, who is one of the greatest philosophers in the West, he used to say that war is the father of all things. युद्ध सभी चीजों का पिता है. War is the father of everything. And Nietzsche, another very famous German philosopher, he also says war is essential part of our life. जीवन का एक अविभाज्य अंग युद्ध ही है. हाँ? So this is what actually we are arriving at when we see Bhagavad Gita. That is why the background of Bhagavad Gita is war. And we all know about it that Kauravas and Pandavas, they are going to fight the war. And in the midst of armies, the great science has been revealed by the Lord Krishna to Partha. They are, I mean, what an amount of tension must be there when the conches are blown from both sides and they know that the war can start any moment now. किसी भी क्षण अभी युद्ध शुरू हो जाने वाला है. और अगर युद्ध शुरू हो जाएगा, हजारों लाखों लोग मरने वाले हैं. ये तो very obvious. And in the midst of the army, this great knowledge has been given by Krishna to Arjuna. Now, what is this war? Why this war situation has been taken? Because we have to know that this is Adhyatmika Grantha. It is a spiritual text which is in front of us. This war, which is depicted outside, is always going on inside us. That is what we are going to learn in Bhagavad Gita. In the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, if we happen to see that, Daivasura Sampata Vibhaga Yogo Nam Shodashodhyaya, Daivi Sampat, Asuri Sampat. The demonic type of things which are there and divine things which are, they are both within us. Within the human mind, there are negative forces, there are positive forces in each one of us. And those forces are fighting within us at all times. This is the war with which we are really concerned. ये जो युद्ध हमारे मन के अंदर चल रहा है, यही युद्ध का पूरा वर्णन भगवत गीता में है. यही युद्ध में हमने क्या करना चाहिए, ये संघर्ष में, ये संघर्ष के पास हम कैसे चले जाएंगे, इसके बारे में पूरा विवेचन ये भगवत गीता में किया हुआ है. That is why the background of Bhagavad Gita is war. You know, there was a very funny thing. Some time back, about 20-25 years back, in Russia, of all the countries in Russia, Bhagavad Gita was banned. Russia में Bhagavad Gita was not allowed in Russia because he said that Bhagavad Gita is propagating war. Bhagavad Gita युद्ध के बारे में बताइए, युद्ध के लिए प्रोत्साहित कर रही है भगवत गीता. और इसलिए रशिया में, of all the countries in Russia, today we know that Russia is the center of the war which can turn into the world war, Ukraine war, which is going on at all times. So, of course, later on, the matter went to the court actually, and in the court, the final thing prevailed. ये भी शायद कृष्ण की ही लीला है कि कम्युनिस्ट कंट्री में जो भगवान में विश्वास ही नहीं करती है, जो किसी को भी मानते नहीं है, उन्होंने भी आखिर में ये कहा कि नहीं, उसको we should not ban Bhagavad Gita. We do not agree with that. It's all right, but we cannot ban it. So the ban was really later on lifted. But that is because the background of war is there. But they did not understand that Bhagavad Gita is really not concerned with the external war. And external war is also reality. You know, even the external. If you take any period of time in the world, war goes on and on everywhere in the world. Even today it is happening. Hamas and Israel, they are at war, and everywhere. Bangladesh, what happened, we know. And this is right from our childhood. We had war with China and Pakistan and all in our own country. Every war is being fought everywhere in the world. There was no time in the world when the war was not there. That is the external reality as well. युद्ध नहीं था ऐसा कभी भी हुआ नहीं, युद्ध तो होता ही है, लेकिन ये युद्ध जो है वो क्यों होता है? क्योंकि हमारे मन में युद्ध चल रहा है, हर एक के मन के अंदर ये युद्ध चल रहा है, and that is within the positive and the negative forces which are there, you know. So here we can really start with some of the slokas which are there in Bhagavad Gita. We'll start with the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita today. We know the background I have to. So every chapter of yoga, first of all, as I told you in the beginning, we are going to learn yoga in Bhagavad Gita. You know, and so every chapter of Bhagavad Gita, if you read in the end, it will be said, Iti Srimad Bhagavat Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade, and the different yogas. All the 18 chapters, they end up with some yoga or the other. Bhagavad Gita is synthesis of many yogas. You know, that is what we are going to see. We are going to see the major yogas. Indeed. So even the first chapter, which sets the stage for Bhagavad Gita, is the Arjuna Vishada Yoga. The dejection of Arjuna, because Arjuna saw that in front of him, his own relatives are there, his own Guru, Dronacharya is there, Bhishma Pitamaha is there, Shala Sambandhinastata. And he saw that, once the war starts, I'm going to kill them all. And what do I get out of this war at all? If the war goes on, he was not afraid of war. He was a great warrior. Arjuna was super warrior. That's why he could become disciple of Krishna precisely because he was a great warrior. Okay. So then he saw that all the people in front of him, they are there, his relatives, his cousin brothers, his guru, his grandfather and everything. And then he thought that if I kill them and even if I win this war, how it is going to benefit me? Shall I be happy even after this war? ये रक्त लांछित जो क्रांति हो जाएगी, ये युद्ध में इतने लोग मरेंगे जो मेरे साथ शाला में पढ़ रहे थे, जो मेरे भाई हैं, जो मेरे गुरु हैं, ये सबको मार के अगर मैं युद्ध जीत भी जाऊंगा तो उसमें क्या, shall I have peace of mind? It is going to be a disaster. I can't fight such war. We can't fight such war at all. So he was totally dejected. Arjuna's dejection itself became a yoga. Arjuna Vishada Yogo Nama Pratamodhyaya. This is also one of the lessons for us because we get dejected many times. How to turn that dejection into spiritual path is the first thing which Bhagavad Gita is telling. आपके मन में जो विषाद होता है ना, वो विषाद भी आपके अंदर जागृति पैदा कर देता है. It brings about some sort of awareness in you. It makes you think seriously about life. You know, that is the importance of war. That is the importance of struggle. That is the importance of fight. You know, that with all those clashes, you start really thinking seriously about your life. It awakens you to the reality of life. Arjuna was awake. Most of the people, they will start thinking, what is the cause of my dejection? Kauravas are cause of my dejection. Let us finish them. My boss is the cause of my dejection. I will do something so that I can put him down. And I have satisfaction that, oh yes, he was my enemy and I finished him. I have got, no, this will not become yoga then. You know, all these forces, one force or the other force, it will awaken you to the reality. Then only it becomes yoga. So it became Arjuna Vishada Yoga because Arjuna was awakened to the reality. What I am doing, why I am doing, what is this life, what is my goal in life? Arjuna started thinking very seriously about all these questions. That is why it became yoga for Arjuna. Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So that was the background on which the yoga started, and we are now entering into Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. We shall discuss the difference between this Sankhya and Patanjali's Sankhya or the Sankhya philosophy little next time maybe. Okay, but then it has set the stage, and now let us learn some of the shlokas which are there in the second chapter, how it starts, and the first 10 verses they are describing the state of mind of Arjuna. Okay, and from 11 verse onwards, real Bhagavad Gita starts. The teaching of Krishna starts from 11th stanza. Okay, so now we know all that Sanjay was the person who was reporting. He was the main commentator. You know, by the way, uh, the first stanza is chanted by Dhritarashtra. Hmm. Dhritarashtra is blind. He represents the persons who do not think seriously about life at all. Most of us, we are Dhritarashtra. We don't open our eyes and look at our life at all. We are not serious about our own life at all. Okay. And so he says that, please tell me what is happening. Only one verse, entire Bhagavad Gita, 700 shlokas. Only the first verse is spoken by Dhritarashtra, the blind king, to Sanjaya, who has got that Divya Chakshu. Divya Chakshu is the one from which he can see what is happening in the battlefield. And not only see what is happening in the battlefield, he can see what is happening in the minds of the people as well. What is happening in the mind of Arjuna and Krishna and even Duryodhana and all other people. He can tell what is happening inside the mind and also on the battlefield. And by the way, this is the thing. You know, when I was in Vivekananda Kendra, Kanyakumari, there was one Swami Vireshwarananda Giri, and he said that in fact the first four letters in the first stanza of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita begins with Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yuyutsavaha, Mamaka Pandava Chaiva, Kima Kurvata Sanjaya. Since Dhritarashtra, which is asking. So he says the first two letters, Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, it has the whole message of Gita itself. Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre. Okay, and he says if you rearrange this word and you say Kshetre Kshetre Dharma Kuru, Dharma Kshetre Kuru Kshetre, you rearrange this, it becomes Kshetre Kshetre Dharma Kuru. This is the entire message of Bhagavad Gita itself. Kshetra means the field of action. In whichever field of action you are, act righteously, do your duty righteously. Dharma means kartavya, means the duty which you have to perform. Kshetre, kshetre, dharma kuru. So you can be anywhere, anything. You can be a merchant, you can be a businessman, you can be a teacher, you can be a farmer, you can be an IT engineer, you can be a politician. Any kshetra, these are called kshetras, the field of activity. Everybody has its own field of activity. Bhagavad Gita is relevant in all the fields of activity. That is one in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Kshetra kshetrajnayoho vibhaga yogo nam. Okay. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetram ityuchyate. This sharira, this body itself is the field. And kshetrajna, the more of the field is me, the consciousness which is there within me. So that is what he says. So we are now with the, so Sanjaya Vach, it begins with Dvitiya Adhyaya. Sanjaya Vach, Tan Tatha Krupaya Vishtam Ashrupurnam Kulekshanam Vishidantam Idam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudana. Okay, so when he saw the Sanjaya said that Krishna then addressed to the following words to Arjuna. Ashrupurna Kulekshanam, with tears in his eyes and totally depressed, he was standing there. Madhusudana. Madhusudana is the name of one of the names of Krishna. He was a kid, Madhusudana Rakshasa. Okay. And he was totally disgusted and all. So he addressed him. And what the first address was really very harsh words. Arjuna wanted some sort of sympathy for him, because earlier in the first chapter he's telling he has given a lot of logic to why he wants to resign. He kept down his bow and arrow and say, I won't fight. That is what Eva Mukta Arjuna Sanke Rathopasta Bhavishat Visrujya Sasharam Chapam Shoka Savvikna Manasa. And he says that I am not going to fight at all. This war is not meant for me at all. Okay. And so he wanted to resign from the war. He said, if I fight, I am going to kill so many people, and their wives will become sab vidhaएं ho jaye, and who will look after their children. So much of logic he has given for not fighting. He said, instead of engaging myself in such a heinous activity of war, I would rather resign. I will beg. I will rather beg and eat than to have a victory in such a war. Okay, so that is the thing. Now, what he expected for Krishna is, okay, you are right, of course, or some sort of sympathetic words he wanted, but very harsh word has been first spoken by Krishna to Arjuna. What is saying? Shri Bhagavan Vacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Jushtam Asvargyam Akirti Karvakana. What are you talking at this particular time? When you are supposed to raise and fight, you are showing some sort of importance has prevailed upon you. What kind of infatuation is there on you? Kutaspa kashmalamidam vishame samupastitam. Abhi jab when you are supposed to show your valor, अभी आपको जब आपको शक्ति का प्रदर्शन करना है, उस समय you are getting depressed, you want to resign. This is anarya. Arya is a very noble person. Arya is a person who performs his duty for the sake of duty. जो धर्म के अनुसार कर्म करता है, उसको आर्य ऐसा कहते हैं. And Aryan is the one who never forgets his duty. You have forgotten your duty, so he's calling anarya because you are a kshatriya. Later on, we are going to talk about that also. What is Brahman, Vaishya, Shudra, Kshatriya, and all that nonsense which is going on nowadays in the whole world about this jati and other things. How the things were really there, and how politically and otherwise people are talking about it. Most nonsensical talk is there. So here defined, Chaturvarnya has been defined in Bhagavad Gita very well. But we will not go to that. But Kshatriya is supposed to, his whole life is for war. Okay, you are here for fighting, and before the war, all the things were done. You know that Krishna himself, uh, in the end, Krishna himself went to Kauravas in order to stop the war. That was the last thing, last effort Krishna did to stop the war. And when he entered the court of Dhritarashtra, Dhritarashtra arrested him, though he was Duta. Duta is not supposed to be arrested by anybody. Okay, he's only ambassador with a message from the opposite side. You can't arrest him, so he arrested him also. So everything failed, and that is why there was no war was inevitable. And it was Dharma Kshetra, Kukshetra. It was war on Dharma, righteousness, and unrighteousness. That was the fight between. Okay. So he said that now, when as a Kshatriya, when you are it is your duty to fight. If you are given, it is anarya system, aswargya. It will not aswargyam. It is not something which will take you to heaven, or it is not heaven. It is not an act of a noble sailor. So, Akirtikaram Arjuna. What people will think about it? That Arjuna ran away from the field. The great mighty Arjuna, he ran away from Akirtikaram Arjuna. So how can you have this Klaibyam Asmagama Partha? Naitatvam Yupapadyate Shudram Hridaya Daurbalyam Tyaktotishta Parantapa. Hey Parantapa, a great person, Napusakata ko prapta mat ho jao. Klaibyam Asmagama Partha. You are talking like important person who doesn't have any strength at all. ये तुमको शोभा नहीं दे रहा है. शुद्रम हृदय दौर्बल्यम, ये तेरी हृदय की दुर्बलता ही बोल रही है. Somehow or the other, that strength in your heart has vanished. You leave everything. Uttishta parantapo, raise, arise, awake. Stop not till the goal is reached. That is what Kathopanishad says. So same thing he has been telling to Arjuna. And then Arjuna goes on with his, he is not convinced. Okay, so Arjuna uvacha, Katham Bhishma Maham Sankhe, Dronam cha Madhusudana, Ishubhi Pratiyotsyami, Puja Raha Varisudana. How do you say that I should fight? Bhishma Maham Sankhe, Bhishma पितामह वहां है, जिन्होंने मुझे पाला था, छोटा सा देखा था, जिनके कंधे पर मैं खेला था. Dronam cha Madhusudana, and Dronacharya, my own guru. Do you mean to say I should shoot arrows at Bhishma and Drona, my guru, my grandfather? Ishubhi Pratiyotsyami Pujarha Varisudana. जो पूजा करने लायक है, the people whom I should worship, you are asking me to kill them with the arrows. How is it possible? It must be really, really. It's not an ordinary situation. Just imagine. Somehow or the other, you are in front of your own relatives, and for the sake of nation, for anything, it becomes your duty to kill them. How horrible it must be. How horrible. Killing your own brother, killing your own parents, killing your own grandfather. Arjuna was not really disgusted for nothing. It looks quite all right for Arjuna's point of view. It was really all right. How I can really fight against my guru, my great grandfather. And then he says in fifth sloka, Guru Nahatva nahi mahan bhavan shreyo bhoktum bhaiksham apiha loke hatvartha kamastu guruni haiva bhunjiya bhogan rudira pradignan. Rudira pradignan. Rakta lanchita. ऐसे भोग भोगने से अच्छा यही होगा कि मैं भीख मांग के रहूं। श्रेयो भोक्तुम भैक्षम अपनी लोके, इससे तो अच्छा है कि मैं ये सब छोड़ छाड़ के आई बिकम ए बेगर, आई बेग एंड आई ईट instead of killing all these things and with lot of bloodshed. If I am going, instead of getting a victory with all the blood stains on it, I prefer to withdraw and beg outside. ये रक्तलांछित जो विजयश्री है, उसे ये अच्छा है कि मैं भीख मांग के रह जाऊं। ईश्वर गुरु निहत्वानु महाभाव, गुरुजनों का संहार करने से यही अच्छा होगा। न चैदत् वित्तम कतरन्नो गरीयो यद्वा जयेम यदि वानो जयेयु यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामात् तेव स्थिता प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्रा. So these are the arguments which he is actually giving. Okay, I do not know what to do at this particular time. न चैदम विद्म कतरन्नो गरीयो, क्या मेरे लिए अच्छा है मुझे समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा है। इस समय क्या करना मुझे बिल्कुल समझ में नहीं आ रहा है। यद्वा जयेम यदि वानो जयेहु, whether I am going to win this war, I am going to lose war, that also we do not know. Whether we are going to win here or lose, we do not know. We do not know the result of the war. यानेव हत्वान जिजी विषामात तेव स्थिता प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्र, और ये सब धार्तराष्ट्र, धृतराष्ट्र के पुत्र कौरव, इन सबको मारने से हमको क्या मिलने वाला है ये भी मुझे मालूम नहीं है। हाउ आई एम गोइंग टू गेन, सो वी डू नॉट इवन नो हाउ, what is preferable to us, to fight or not to fight, nor do we know whether we shall win or whether they will conquer us. Those very sons of Dhritarashtra, killing whom we do not even wish to live, stand in our enemy ranks. I do not even wish to live if I am going to kill them. Okay, so that is what he says. And then he says in seventh stanza, कार्पण्य दोषोपहत स्वभावा पृच्छामि त्वां धर्म संगूढ़ चेता यच्छ्रेयस्यां निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेहं शाधिमान्तां प्रसन्नम्. Now here actually the Bhagavad Gita starts. Till then Arjuna is under confusion, and this is one of the messages of Bhagavad Gita. You are under confusion, you are under stress, you are under strain, you are under difficulty, you want to solve some problem, but till you are solving the problem, you will not get the answer. Only when you surrender and surrender to God, it is possible to have solution for the problem. So, karpanya dosho pahata swabhava. With my very being smitten by the wise faint-heartedness, karpanya dosho, my heart is sinking. I feel some sort of weakness of my heart. पुच्छामि ताम धर्म सम्मूढ़ चेता, धर्म सम्मूढ़ हो गया हूं मैं. I am not able to decide which is the right, what is dharma. Dharma is one which tells you what is right and what is wrong, what is shreyas and what is preyas, what is ought to be done, what should not be done. That is what dharma is. Dharma सम्मूढ़ चेता means किंग कर्तव्य मूढ़. मैं किंग कर्तव्य मूढ़ हो चुका हूँ. मुझे ये नहीं मालूम पड़ता है सही क्या है गलत क्या है. I am not able to decide at all what is right. I feel myself very weak. Yakshayasyam nishchitam bruhitam me. That is why I want you to tell me for sure what I should do. मैं क्या करूं? You give me the direction. I am not able to decide. I am totally confused. You tell me what to do. Huh? शिष्यस्ते हम. Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. I am your disciple. I surrender to you. Pray, instruct me. Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. That is why Gita was told to Arjuna. Because he surrendered to the Lord. He said, till then they were friends only. Till then, Arjuna and they loved each other, but he was considering Krishna as the friend. Now he says, I am your disciple. I surrender to you. Please give me instructions. Please tell me for sure what I should do because I am confused. I do not know what to do. So that is the situation. Now, this is also one of the things which we have to understand. There are many situations in our life where we are not able to decide which way to go. You know, क्या करना क्या नहीं करना हमको मालूम नहीं पड़ रहा है. Which is the right way, righteous way. At that time, you have to surrender to God. And where is that God? Krishna is going to tell in the 15th chapter. Sarvasya chaham hridhi satyashta. सबके हृदय में वो बसा हुआ है. You don't have to search for Krishna here and there in the temples or anywhere outside. He is right there in your heart. The pure consciousness, the Atman, which is right. You are not contacting it. What is happening is you are consulting your ego only, which is covering the God. You know, one of the greatest wall between God and man is his ego. हमारा जो अहंकार है यही बहुत बड़ी दीवार है हमारे और परमेश्वर के बीच में. तो ये जब दीवार नहीं टूटेगी तब तक परमेश्वर का दर्शन हमको नहीं होगा. दीवार कब टूटेगी? इफ यू सरेंडर, if you property, total surrender is one of the ways which has been taught. Of course, this is one of the yogas which we are going to learn about as well. So that is what he said. So karpanya dosho pahata swaha pruchhami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yat shreyasyam nishchitam brohitam me shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam नहीं प्रपश्यामि ममापमुद्यात् यच्छोकमुच्छो क्षणमिन्द्रियाणाम् अवाप्य भूमां वसपत्नमृद्धं राज्यं सुराणामपि चाधिपत्यम्. For even on obtaining the undisputed sovereignty and affluent kingdom on this earth and the lordship over gods, I do not see any means that can drive away the grief in the drying up my senses. Okay, क्योंकि मैं जीत भी गया और स्वर्ग की भी मुझे प्राप्ति हो गई, स्वर्ग का भी राज्य मुझे प्राप्त हुआ, तो मैं कैसा सुखी हो जाऊंगा मुझे मालूम नहीं. How can I solve my problem? I cannot understand. So you have to really guide him. So Sanjaya uvacha एवं उक्त्वा हर्षिकेशं गुडाकेशः परन्तपो न योत्स्य इति गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः. So saying like that, Rishikesha, Gudakesha is one of the most beautiful terms which has been used for Arjuna. Arjuna is called Partha many times. Arjuna, of course, one of the Gudakesha is a special name of Arjuna because निद्रा को जो जीतने वाला होता है उसको गुड़ाकेश बोलते हैं. One who is awake even during sleep. That means he was aware at all times. Arjuna was not an ordinary person. He was Gudakesha. We sleep even when we are apparently awake. We are sleeping to many things. हमको ऐसा लगता है कि हम जागरूक है, अभी भी हमको ऐसा लगता है हम जागरूक है. कितने विषयों के प्रति हम सोए हुए हैं अभी इस समय भी. Arjuna was always awake. So for such an awakened soul, you understand what Krishna is speaking about. he becomes the right disciple. That is one of the characteristics of a right disciple. You should have the right kind of awareness to absorb the things which have been told by God. Evam uktva Rishikesham Gudakesha Parantapa. And he was Parantapa, he was a great person, great warrior, great fighter. Hmm? Na yoche iti govindam. I am not going to fight. I resign. Utva tushnim bapapa. And he kept silent, got down his chariot, resigned totally. And then on now, on from 10th shloka onwards, the real teaching of Bhagavad Gita starts. And that I think we should
Yes, sir.
start doing next time. When we meet, we shall start. This was, we can say, an introductory session of Bhagavad Gita. But then on, we shall start. And I intend to have most of the stanzas from the second chapter, because it is said second chapter of Bhagavad Gita is the essence of philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. भगवत गीता का जो तत्व ज्ञान है वो तत्व ज्ञान पूरी तरह से